hope you're all keeping well. Been having a good week. Looking forward to the run up to Easter. We've got lots of interesting things happening over Easter. Next week you'll get to see about the craft that takes place over Easter. So keep your eye open for that coming out next Saturday. But over the last few weeks we've looked at different things we've done in lockdown, doing jigsaw puzzles, going running. You may have done some of those things as well. Some people have tried their hand at baking during lockdown. Some people are very good at it, some people for the first time. Now, I'm not very good at baking, but the good thing is I know someone who is.
Hi all, I hope you're well. So today I'm going to make a Greek yogurt chocolate cake, which is a recipe I've never made before. I do like baking, but one of the nice things about lockdown has been learning some new recipes and trying some new things. So if you want a recipe, do let me know. Otherwise, let's see how it goes.
Well, I'm pleased to say this is the result. Emma's just had a piece, and I'm going to have a piece of it now. This Greek chocolate cake. I wonder if it's going to be any good. If you do want the recipe for it, then do get in touch, and we can certainly let you have a copy of the recipe if you want to have a go at doing it, and see if yours will be as good. So maybe you're going to have a bit of cake while you're watching this, or go off and do a bit of cake, and then I'm going to, and then in a moment I'm going to share with you why it's important having a recipe. Why was it important to have a recipe for making that cake, and what is significant about that? So perhaps you want to put the kettle on, have a bit of cake. I'm going to eat this and then drink my tea as well. And then I'll say something about why it's important to have a recipe for the cake. If you'd like to make that very same cake, then do get in touch, and you can have the recipe for it. You can see a little bit of it on the screen there a little bit earlier on. It was certainly very good. I'm probably not clever enough to bake a cake like that. It's probably not one of my talents, but as you can see, Emma's very good at that sort of thing. I'm sure some of you will be able to bake a cake. There's plenty of people in the church who are very good at making cakes and very good at cooking as well. Now, what was so important about that? Well, if you were going to make a cake like that, you wouldn't just get all the ingredients. You saw there was a picture in the middle of all that which had all the ingredients for that cake. Now, you wouldn't just throw them up in the air and expect the cake to come together. You just get a big mess everywhere. To actually make the cake, you've got to follow the recipe, you've got to put all the ingredients in, and it requires you being able to read through the recipe and put all the ingredients in, cook it at the right time, bake it at the right time, all those things that you have to do in order to get that cake just right, which Emma was able to there. Why is that important for us today? Well, we think about our world today and everything that's around us. It's not there by accident. It's there because God created it. It's not there just because of some accident that's taken place, or we don't know why it's there. It says in the Bible that God created the heavens and the earth, and He created animals, and He created people, and the waters, the seas, all of those things were created by God. It wasn't just just some accident taking place, but God being at work. Let's see what it says in the Bible about it. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surfaces of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And as we read through this in Genesis chapter 1 and 2, perhaps you'd like to read it over the next week, God says, "Let there be light." And so there was light. Then the waters were created. Let the water under the sky be gathered in one place. Let dry ground appear. Let there be lights. Living creatures were created, and then humans. And we can read all about it in Genesis chapter 1 and 2, how God created the world and all that's around us. And so when we look at what's around us, we look at the plants, the animals that we have, all these things we enjoy in God's creation, we should remember to thank God for it, that God created it. And just like Emma there created that cake by using all the ingredients and having to follow the recipe and get it together so it was all just right. God is the ultimate creator. God created all of us. We're not here by accident. This wasn't like the cake, all the ingredients of the cake being thrown up in the air just to come together and make the cake. It was all carefully planned, just like all of our lives were. All of our lives have been carefully planned, and God has created it all. So I'd like to think over the next week and make sure we're being thankful for our creation, for God's creation, all the things that are around us. Thanking God for all that He's done. Perhaps you'd like to read Genesis chapter 1 and 2 this week, right at the very start of the Bible, which tells us all about what God has done and all about how God created the earth. So, as well as reading the first 2 chapters of Genesis, there's one other further challenge I'd like you to think about. It's been a year now since we've been in this situation of lockdown, since we actually had to close the doors of the church at one stage. The church building had to be closed at one stage, and it's been very different. We've been under very different restrictions even when the church could reopen. Now, people have done lots of different things over the past year. You've seen even over the past few weeks some of the things that I might have been up to in the past year. But I wonder, what sort of things have you learnt during lockdown? Now, over the next sort of 3 weeks or so, I'd like to invite you, if there is something you've really learnt during lockdown or done, either send a picture of it or perhaps a little film, just a few seconds just saying it, send it in to me, and we're going to put a video together of all the things that we've learnt over lockdown. That will go out in about 3 weeks' time. So there's another little challenge for you. I hope you have a really blessed week. There'll be a video about the craft coming up next Saturday as well, and also hopefully about the Easter Trail as well.